All right, we are week 4, day 4, DLR blessing. What do we see wrong with this first one? It says, oh, I see a couple of things right off the rip. For a class project, I write a letter to the famous person. What do you see wrong right away? Give me one thing that you see wrong. Remember, what's our mantra, blessing? We do what? We read, edit, write. You got that right. All right? All right, so we've read it. Now what do we need to edit? I'm a poet, and I didn't even know it. Go ahead. What do you see wrong up there? I was so glad that you said that. The F at the beginning of this sentence needs to be capitalized. What do 3 lines underneath that letter signify? For a class project, I writed a letter to the famous person. Aiden, what do you got?
Instead of it being a K in project, it should be.
We have a spelling error, so we're going to go ahead and just spell that correctly. Spell it for me.
Project.
That is correct. Very nice. For a class project, I writed a letter to the famous person. Bryson, you don't hear something wrong there? Surely you do. You would say it like this. This is how you would say it. For a class project, I writed a letter to the famous person. Yes, you would say I wrote, right? So we've got that wrong. Spell it. Yeah, WROTE. For a class project, I wrote a letter to the famous person. The famous person? Yes, it should be Thank you. All right. How many corrections do we have on this bad boy? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 mistakes there. All right. And now, are we writing to a point, Xander, that you're getting it all on one line, which means you're small and you're accurate enough to get it all on one line, Trace? Is that right? Hold them up. Let me see them. We're getting better. We're getting a little better, right? We want to be small and accurate. All right, here we go. I picked me a person who is very important to the United States. I see lots of things wrong with this. Rhinell, I picked me a person who is very important to the United States. What do we see wrong with this? Remember, we read, edit, write. Do we hear something wrong there, Xander? What do you got? Huh? You got it? I picked me a person who is very important to the United States. Give me one thing that's wrong with that. So you're going to get rid of me? We wouldn't say I picked me a person. Right? You would say I picked a person who is very important to the United States. Trace, what do we got?
They forgot to add a period.
They did forget to add a period. Trace, while you're down at that end of the sentence, what else do you see wrong? Should be jumping out at you. It should be jumping out at you, piercing your eyes and hurting them because it's so wrong. Chevy Metal. Is that what you saw too, Trace? You saw it too? Okay, what do those 3 lines signify? I picked a person who is very important to the United States. Who can pick up that spelling error that I keep saying? Kinsley. Important. Right? Is that what we got? Yeah. All right, I think that's it, right? So we've read, we've edited, now we write it out. I picked, okay, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 corrections. I'm telling you right now, you will see these. You will see both of those, Vickery, okay? All right. Write the words that correctly complete the sentence. The person, blank, I wrote a letter is Barack Obama. So what should that be, right? The person to When you're talking about a person, it's to whom I wrote a letter is Barack Obama. Did you get that right? Who got that right? O'Brien. And Emily. And Melania. All right, some all stars there. Add punctuation to the sentence. The first sentence of my letter said, comma, I am very proud to write to a US president, end quote, period. Right? Did we get that right? Because this is the tagline, right? This is the speaking part. What do we call these guys here?
Quotation marks.
All right. We separate the tagline from the quotation marks with a what?
Comma.
All right. And then we should button this whole thing up with a,
Period.
right? All right. Very good. All right. There you have it. Week 4, day 4 in the books, Tadero.